Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of his ship, the U.S. Defiance. He watched through the large windows as strange shapes appeared in the darkness of space around Earth. These were not human ships. They were much larger and looked nothing like anything humans had ever built. Jake had been in space for 15 years. He had seen many things, but nothing like this. The alien ships kept coming, one after another, until they filled the space around Earth like a metal cloud. There were hundreds of them, maybe thousands. Each one was bigger than the largest human warship. "Sir, we're getting a message," said Lieutenant Betty Cole from her station. Her voice was tight with worry. "It's coming from the big ship in the center." Jake nodded. He had been expecting this. For weeks there had been rumors that something was coming. The other alien races in the galaxy had been talking in secret. Now he knew what they had been planning. The main screen on the bridge lit up. A face appeared that made Jake's skin crawl. It was tall and thin, with gray skin that looked like old leather. Its eyes were black and cold, like empty holes in space. This was a Zephyrian, one of the oldest and most powerful races in the galaxy. "I am War Leader Vex Call of the Zephyrian hegemony," the creature said. Its voice was like grinding metal. "I speak for the Galactic Coalition. We have come to deliver a message to the humans of Earth." Jake felt his hands tighten into fists. Zephyrians had ruled much of the galaxy for thousands of years. They were strong, smart, and had never lost a war. Behind them came other races, all following their lead like scared children. "You will listen," Vexcall continued. "Your species has grown too fast. You have taken too many worlds. You have upset the balance that has kept peace in the galaxy. For ages, this cannot continue." On Earth below, Admiral Lisa Kane was watching the same message from her command center. She was 52 years old and had spent her whole life preparing for war. She had hoped she would never need to use what she had learned, but now it looked like she might have no choice. Lisa's hands moved quickly over her control panel. She sent messages to every human world, every ship, every base. The warning was simple: get ready for trouble. She had a feeling they were about to get more trouble than they could handle. Dr. Alex Carter was also watching from his lab on the moon. He studied alien life forms and had been warning people about this day for months. He knew how the other races thought. They were old and careful. They did not like change, and humans changed everything they touched. "The Coalition has decided," Vexcall said on the screen. "Humanity will return to Earth. You will give up all colonies. You will give up all ships except those needed for defense of your home world. You will accept monitors who will make sure you do not grow beyond your limits again." Jake felt anger burn in his chest. The alien was talking about humans like they were animals that needed to be caged. Earth was a good world, but it was not enough. Humans needed room to grow, to explore, to build. That was what made them human. "If you refuse," Zephyrian continued, "we will force you to accept. We have brought ships from 12 races. We have enough power to destroy every human world if we must. You have 72 hours to decide." The message ended. The screen went black. Jake stared at it for a long moment, then turned to his crew. They were all looking at him, waiting for orders. Some looked scared. Others looked angry. All of them looked ready to fight. "Send a message to Earth," Jake said. "Tell them we received the ultimatum. Tell them the Defiance is ready for whatever comes next." Down on Earth, President Ben Rodriguez was meeting with his advisors. The room was full of important people, all talking at once. Some wanted to negotiate. Others wanted to fight. A few wanted to run away to distant stars where the aliens might not find them. "We can't win," said one. "Advisor, they have too many ships. They have better weapons. They have been fighting wars since before humans learned to make fire. We can't give up, said another. If we go back to just Earth, we'll be trapped forever. Our children will never see the stars. President Rodriguez listened to them all. He was a calm man who thought carefully before making decisions. But inside, he felt the same fire that burned in every human heart. They had worked too hard to get to the stars to give up now. Carol Wright, a human ambassador to the Galactic Council, sent a message from the alien capital world. She had been trying to make friends with the other races for years. Now she was alone, with no friends and no help. They're scared, she reported. All of them. They're not doing this because they're strong. They're doing it because they're afraid of what we might become. General Ryan Clark was already moving. He commanded the Colonial Defense Forces, the military that protected human worlds. His ships were smaller than the alien vessels, but they were fast, and his crews were well trained. He began sending orders to every human base. Pull back the outer patrols, he ordered. Bring in the scouts. Get every ship we have ready for battle. If they want to fight, we'll give them one they won't forget. Dr. Peter Sullivan was working in his lab on the moon when the ultimatum came. He was a young scientist who studied alien technology. For months, he had been trying to understand how alien shields worked. Now he realized this knowledge might be the key to human survival. I think I found something, he told his team. The alien shields have a weakness. It's small, but it's there. If we can build the right weapon, we might be able to get through their defenses. The hours passed quickly. Messages flew between human worlds. Ships moved into position. Weapons were checked and loaded. Families said goodbye to their loved ones. Everyone knew that in 72 hours, everything would change. When the time came, President Rodriguez spoke to the galaxy. His message was broadcast to every world, every ship, every being who could receive it. The words were simple, but they carried the weight of human determination. We reject your ultimatum, he said. Humanity will not be caged. We will not give up our freedom. We will not abandon our colonies. If you want to stop us, you will have to destroy us. But we will not make it easy for you. The galaxy listened in shock. No one had ever said no to the Zephyrian hegemony before. No one had ever chosen war over surrender when faced with such overwhelming force. But humans were different. They had always been different. The die was cast. The galaxy would soon learn what happened when humanity chose war instead of words. The news of humanity's refusal spread across the galaxy faster than light itself. On every world, in every space station, beings who had never heard of humans before suddenly knew their name. The small, young race from the edge of the galaxy had done something impossible. They had said no to the Zephyrian hegemony. Ambassador Carol Wright sat alone in her office on the Galactic Council world. For the first time in 20 years, no one came to visit her. The hallways that had once been filled with friendly aliens were now empty. Even her secretary, a kind creature from the Altair system, had stopped coming to work. Carol looked out her window at the great city below. She had loved this place once. It was where different races came together to talk and solve problems. Now it felt like a tomb. The other ambassadors crossed the street to avoid walking near the human embassy. They're all afraid, Carol said to herself. She picked up her communication device and sent the message to Earth. The Council is in chaos. Half the members want to help the hegemony destroy us. The other half want to stay neutral. No one wants to be our friend anymore. On Earth, General Ryan Clark was not surprised by this news. He had never trusted the aliens anyway. They smiled and talked about peace, but they only respected strength. Now they would see what human strength really looked like. Ryan stood in his command center, looking at maps of all the human colonies. There were 47 worlds now, scattered across 100 light-years of space. Each one had families, farms, factories, and dreams. Each one was now a target. "Sir, we have a problem," said Colonel Danny West, one of Ryan's best officers. "The aliens have more ships than we thought. Our scouts count over 3,000 vessels in the coalition." Fleet. Ryan studied the numbers. Humanity had about 60 ships that could really fight. The aliens had 50 times that many. In any normal war, this would be over before it started. But Ryan knew this would not be a normal war. "How many races are in the coalition?" Ryan asked. 12 confirmed, sir. "Maybe more. The Zephyrians are leading, but the Ketharon Empire sent a big fleet too. So did the Stellar Confederation and the Hive Worlds." Ryan nodded. He had studied all these races. They were old and powerful, but they were also used to easy victories. They had never fought anyone who refused to surrender. They had never fought humans. On Mars, Commander Nina Brooks was preparing the shipyards for attack. Mars built most of humanity's spaceships. If the aliens took Mars, they could stop humans from building new vessels. Nina would not let that happen. "Work faster," she told her crews. "I want every ship that can fly ready for combat. I don't care if they're not finished. I don't care if they're not perfect. We need them now." The workers on Mars had never worked so hard. They knew their families were counting on them. They knew all of humanity was counting on them. Sparks flew as they welded armor plates. Engines roared as they tested new ships. The red planet had become one giant weapon factory. Nina received a message that made her blood run cold. Her intelligence officer had been watching alien communications. The coalition was not just planning to contain humanity. They were planning to reduce the human population to what they called manageable levels. They want to kill 9 out of every 10 humans, the intelligence officer reported. They want to keep just enough of us alive to serve as a warning to other races. Nina felt sick. This was not about territory or resources. This was about genocide. The aliens wanted to wipe out humanity because they were afraid of what humans might become. On the moon, Dr. Peter Sullivan was working without sleep. He had been studying alien technology for years, trying to understand how it worked. Now he had found something that might save his species. "Look at this," he told his team. They gathered around his computer screen. All alien shields work the same way. They create a field that pushes away incoming attacks. But the field has to have gaps, tiny holes where the energy flows through. His assistant, Dr. Mary Johnson, studied the data. The gaps are very small. Most weapons can't hit something that tiny. But we can, Peter said with excitement. Human computers are better than alien computers. We can target those gaps. We can build weapons that will slip through their shields like they're not even there. The breakthrough came at 3 in the morning. Peter's team had been working for 36 hours straight. They were tired, hungry, and scared, but they had done it. They had found a way to beat alien shields. "Test it," Peter ordered. They set up a small alien shield generator they had captured years ago. Then they fired their new weapon at it. The shield flickered and died. The weapon went through like the shield was made of paper. "My God," whispered Dr. Johnson. "It actually works." Peter immediately sent the data to every human world. Within hours, weapons factories were retooling their production lines. The new shield-piercing weapons would take time to build, but they would give humanity a fighting chance. Meanwhile, the alien coalition was having problems of their own. War leader Thexcall had expected the humans to surrender immediately. When they refused, he had expected them to beg for mercy. Instead, they were preparing for war. "How many ships do the humans have?" Thexcall asked his intelligence officer. 60. Combat vessels war leader. "Maybe 70 if they use their transport ships as fighters." Dexcall laughed. It was an ugly sound like breaking glass. 70 ships against 3,000. They are either very brave or very stupid. What are? Your orders, war leader? Begin the attack. Hit their outer colonies first. Show them what happens when they defy the hegemony. Maybe they will come to their senses before we have to kill them all. But the humans were not coming to their senses. They were preparing for total war. Captain Jake Morrison had been given command of the defense fleet. His job was to protect Earth while the colonies fought for their lives. "Sir," said Lieutenant Betty Cole, "we're getting reports from the outer worlds. The aliens are moving. They'll reach New Texas in 6 hours." Jake nodded. New Texas was one of the newest human colonies. It had only 50,000 people, mostly farmers and their families. They had no military base, no weapons, no way to fight back. "Send a message to New Texas," Jake ordered. "Tell them to evacuate. If they can. If they can't, tell them to hide. We're coming, but we might not get there in time." The message reached New Texas just as the alien fleet appeared in their sky. The colonists looked up and saw death coming for them. Most ran to their ships and fled to the outer system. Some stayed to fight with hunting rifles and farming tools. They knew they could not win, but they would not die on their knees. The attack on New Texas was brief and brutal. The aliens destroyed the colony's main city in minutes. 50,000 people became refugees in their own star system. The galaxy watched and waited to see if this would make the humans surrender. Instead, it made them angry. President Rodriguez appeared on screens across human space. His face was hard as stone, his voice cold as ice. "They have shown us who they really are," he said. "They are not peacekeepers. They are not protectors. They are murderers who fear the light of human progress. They want to kill us because we dare to reach for the stars." The president paused, letting his words sink in. "We will not surrender. We will not kneel. We will fight them on every world, in every system, until they learn that humans cannot be caged. The galaxy will remember this day. They will remember that when humanity was threatened with extinction, we chose to fight." The speech was broadcast to every human world. On Earth, people cheered. On Mars, workers built ships faster. On the colonies, militia groups formed to fight the coming invasion. The aliens had wanted to scare humanity into submission. Instead, they had awakened something they did not understand. The die was cast. The galaxy would soon learn what happened when you threatened the survival of the human race. They would learn that humans were not like other species. They did not surrender. They did not give up. They fought until they won or until they died. The war had begun. The Battle of Titan began 3 days after the aliens destroyed New Texas. Titan was Saturn's largest moon and home to humanity's biggest fuel depot. Without the fuel stored there, human ships would not be able to fight for long. Admiral Lisa. Kane knew she had to hold Titan at all costs. Lisa stood on the bridge of her flagship, the U.E.'s Thunder. Around her, the crew worked quietly at their stations. Everyone knew this would be the first real test of human military power. If they lost here, the war might be over before it really began. "Enemy fleet approaching," reported Commander Tim Baker, her tactical officer. "I count 200 ships, including 5 of their big dreadnoughts." Lisa studied the enemy formation on her screen. The aliens were coming in the old way. All their ships in neat rows like they were on parade. It was the way they had always fought, the way that had won them 1,000 victories. But they had never fought humans before. "All ships, this is Admiral." "Kane," Lisa said into her communicator, "remember the plan. We don't fight them head on. We hit them fast and run. Make them chase us. Make them angry. Make them make mistakes. The human fleet was much smaller than the alien force. Lisa had only 30 ships, and most of them were not built for war. But her crews were young and fast and willing to take risks. The aliens were old and careful and used to easy victories. War leader Vex Call commanded the alien fleet from his massive ship, the Endless Night. He had fought in 20 wars and had never lost a battle. He expected this to be another quick victory, a lesson that would teach the humans their place. Human fleet detected, reported his sensor officer. They have 30 ships, all smaller than our escorts. Dexcall laughed. 30 ships against 200. They are either very brave or very foolish. Probably both. All ships attack formation. We will crush them quickly and move on to their homeworld. The alien fleet spread out in their traditional battle formation. Each ship knew its place, and each captain knew his role. They had used this same formation for thousands of years. It had never failed them. But Captain Jake Morrison was not planning to fight the traditional way. He had studied every human war in history, from ancient battles with swords and arrows to modern conflicts with tanks and aircraft. He knew that sometimes the small and fast could beat the big and slow. All ships execute Plan Chaos, Jake ordered. His ship, the Defiance, suddenly broke formation and raced toward the alien fleet. The other human ships scattered in different directions, each one heading for a different target. The aliens were confused. They had expected the humans to form a battle line and fight ship to ship. Instead, the human vessels were flying all over the place like angry wasps. Their formation broke apart as they tried to target multiple enemies at once. Jake's ship came in fast and low, skimming past the alien shields. The Defiance was armed with the new shield-piercing weapons that Dr. Peter Sullivan had designed. For the first time in galactic history, alien shields were useless. "Fire!" Jake shouted. His weapons officer, Lieutenant Sam Turner, pressed the firing button. The new weapons cut through the alien shields like they were not even there. The alien ship shuddered and exploded in a ball of fire. Across the battlefield, other human ships were doing the same thing. They would race in, fire their weapons, and race away before the aliens could respond. The big alien ships were too slow to catch them, and too confused to fight back effectively. Lieutenant Commander Sam Turner was leading a squadron of small fighter ships. His job was to attack the alien supply vessels while the bigger ships were busy. He had 12 fighters against 30 alien cargo ships. "Remember," Sam told his pilots, "we're not trying to destroy all of them. We just want to make them worry about their supplies. Hit the fuel ships first, then the ammunition carriers." The fighters dove into the alien formation like hawks attacking a flock of sheep. The alien cargo ships had no weapons and little armor. They were easy targets for the fast human fighters. One by one, they exploded or fled the battlefield. The alien fleet was in chaos. They had lost 15 ships and had not destroyed a single human vessel. War leader Vex Call was furious. This was not how wars were supposed to be fought. All ships focus fire on the human flagship, Vex Call ordered. Kill their admiral, and the rest will surrender. But Admiral Kane was not planning to surrender. She had been waiting for the aliens to make this mistake, when they focused all their fire on her ship. The other human vessels attacked from behind. "Now!" Lisa shouted. The Thunder fired all its weapons at once. The new shield-piercing technology worked perfectly. The alien flagship shuddered as human weapons tore through its defenses. The battle lasted 6 hours. When it was over, the aliens had lost 40 ships and had retreated to the outer system. The humans had lost 3 vessels and had saved Titan. It was the first human victory in the war, but the victory came with a terrible price. The aliens were angry and embarrassed. They had been beaten by a race they considered primitive. War leader. Vex Call decided to teach humanity a lesson they would never forget. 3 days later, the aliens attacked New Geneva, a peaceful colony world with no military defenses. The planet was home to 50,000 civilians, mostly scientists and their families. They had no weapons, no soldiers, no way to fight back. The attack was swift and merciless. The aliens destroyed the colony's main city from orbit. 50,000 people died in 15 minutes. The aliens broadcast the attack across the galaxy as a warning. They wanted everyone to see what happened to those who defied the hegemony. Dr. Alex Carter was on Earth when he saw the broadcast. He watched in horror as the city where he had once lived was turned into a crater. Friends, colleagues, and innocent families were all gone in an instant. They're not trying to win a war, Alex told President Rodriguez. They're trying to terrorize us into surrender. They want to show us that resistance is hopeless. But the aliens had badly misjudged human nature. Instead of being terrified, humans were enraged. The massacre at New Geneva did not break their will to fight. It made them want to fight harder. President Rodriguez appeared on screens across human space. His face was pale with grief, but his voice was strong with determination. Today, 50,000 of our people died for the crime of being human, he said. They died because we dared to reach for the stars. They died because we refused to accept limits on our dreams. The president paused, letting his words sink in. The aliens think they have taught us a lesson. They have. They have taught us that there can be no peace with those who would murder our children. They have taught us that we must fight, not just for our freedom, but for our very existence. The broadcast continued across the galaxy. Other races watched in silence as the human president declared total war on the coalition. We will not surrender, Rodriguez said. We will not negotiate. We will not forgive. We will fight them on every world, in every system, until they learn that humans cannot be broken. The galaxy will remember New Geneva. They will remember that when you threaten humanity's children, you awaken something that will not rest until justice is done. The speech had an immediate effect. On every human world, men and women volunteered for military service. Factories that had made cars and computers began making weapons and warships. Children who had played with toys began learning to fight. Admiral Kane received new orders from Earth. She was no longer just defending human worlds. She was going to attack alien positions. The war was about to become much more dangerous. All ships, prepare for offensive operations, Lisa ordered. We're going to show them what happens when they murder our people. The aliens had wanted to scare humanity into submission. Instead, they had awakened something they did not understand. They had awakened the human capacity for total war. The Battle of Titan had shown that humans could fight. The massacre at New Geneva had shown that humans would fight. Now the galaxy would learn what happened when humanity chose war over peace. The real war was just beginning. 6 months after the war began, the galaxy was starting to realize they had made a terrible mistake. What should have been a quick police action had become a grinding war that seemed to have no end. The humans were not just surviving, they were learning to fight better with each battle. Colonel Danny West led his strike team through the corridors of the alien space station. They had captured it 3 hours ago, and now they were searching for prisoners and intelligence. This was the first time humans had taken an alien military base intact. "Sir, we found something," called Sergeant Mike Roberts from down the hallway. "You need to see this." Danny followed the sergeant to a large room filled with computers and screens. On one wall was a map of the galaxy showing red dots where alien fleets were stationed. There were far more dots than anyone had expected. "Count them," Danny ordered. Sergeant Roberts worked quickly. "I count over 5,000 ships, sir." And that's just the ones shown on this map. There might be more. Danny felt his blood run cold. Humanity was not just fighting the ships they had seen. They were fighting the entire galaxy. Almost every major race had joined the coalition against humanity. "Send this to Earth immediately," Danny ordered. "Command needs to know what we're really facing." The information reached Earth within hours. President Rodriguez called an emergency meeting of his War Council. The room was filled with tired faces and worried voices. 5,000 ships, said General Ryan Clark. Maybe more. "We have 200 ships that can fight, and half of them are damaged from the last battle." "We knew this would be hard," said Admiral Kane. "But we've been winning. The aliens are making mistakes. They're fighting the way they always have, but we're fighting differently." Dr. Peter Sullivan had more good news. His team had been working on new weapons, and they had made another breakthrough. "We've improved the shield-piercing technology. The new weapons are 3 times more powerful than the old ones." "How long to build them?" asked the president. 2 weeks for the first batch. A month for full production." President Rodriguez nodded. "Do it, and keep working on other ideas. We need every advantage we can get." While the leaders talked, the real work of war was being done by ordinary humans on dozens of worlds. On Mars, factory workers built ships 24 hours a day. On Luna, scientists designed new weapons. On Earth, farmers grew food to feed the growing military. Commander Nina Brooks was overseeing the expansion of the Mars shipyards. What had once been a small facility for building cargo ships was now a vast complex that could build warships faster than anyone had thought possible. "We're launching a new ship every 2 days," Nina reported to Earth. "The aliens destroy one of our ships. We build 2 more. They can't keep up with our production." The aliens were indeed having trouble keeping up. Their shipyards were old and built for making ships slowly and carefully. They had never needed to build ships quickly before. They had never fought a war where they lost ships faster than they could replace them. War leader Dexcal was meeting with the other coalition, leaders on the alien capital world. The room was filled with representatives from 12 different races, all arguing about how to fight the humans. "They do not fight like civilized beings," complained the Ketheron ambassador. "They attack supply ships. They raid undefended bases. They do not follow the rules of war." "There are no rules in war," replied the Stellar Confederation general. "Only victory and defeat." Dexcal listened to the arguments with growing frustration. His allies were starting to doubt the wisdom of this war. Some were even suggesting they should negotiate with the humans. "There will be no negotiation," Dexcal said firmly. "Humans are a disease that must be cut out before it spreads. If we do not stop them now, they will threaten every race in the galaxy." But privately, Dexcal was worried. The humans were not fighting the way he had expected. They were adapting, learning, growing stronger with each battle. Worse, they were making the coalition look weak. The turning point came at the battle of Alpha Centauri, humanity's first colony world. The aliens had surrounded the system with 300 ships, planning to capture it and use it as a base to attack Earth. Admiral Jake Morrison, now promoted after his success at Titan, was given command of the defense fleet. He had 50 ships, all equipped with the new quantum weapons that Dr. Sullivan had developed. "Remember," Jake told his captains, "we're not just defending Alpha Centauri. We're showing the galaxy that humans can win big battles, not just small raids." The quantum weapons were unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. They did not just punch through alien shields. They disrupted the very matter that made up alien ships. A single hit from a quantum weapon could destroy a vessel that had taken years to build. The battle began at dawn on the 3rd day of the siege. The human fleet came out of hyperspace behind the alien formation, catching them completely by surprise. The aliens had been expecting a frontal assault, not an attack from their rear. "All ships, fire at will," Jake ordered. The quantum weapons lit up space with brilliant flashes of light. Alien ships that had seemed invincible simply dissolved into their basic particles. The psychological effect was immediate and terrifying. The aliens had never seen weapons that could destroy their ships so completely. Some alien captains fled the battle without orders. Others froze in shock, unable to believe what they were seeing. "Impossible," whispered War Leader Thexcall as he watched the battle from his command ship. "Nothing can destroy a Zephyrian dreadnought so easily." But the quantum weapons were doing just that. The huge alien ships that had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years were being destroyed by vessels a tenth their size. The balance of power was shifting before everyone's eyes. Lieutenant Commander Sam Turner was leading a fighter squadron in the battle. His job was to attack the alien command ship while the bigger vessels were busy with the main fleet. "Target their communication array," Sam ordered his pilots. "If we can cut their communications, they won't be able to coordinate." Their retreat. The fighters dove toward the alien flagship like angry hornets. The quantum weapons on the small ships were not as powerful as those on the big warships, but they were still deadly. The alien command ship's shields failed in seconds. "Direct hit on their bridge," reported one of Sam's pilots. A command. "Ship is dead in space." Without their leader, the alien fleet collapsed. Ships fled in all directions, abandoning their comrades and their mission. The Battle of Alpha Centauri was over in less than 4 hours. The aliens had lost over 100 ships. The humans had lost 3. News of the victory spread across the galaxy at the speed of light. For the first time, a major alien fleet had been completely defeated by human forces. The psychological impact was enormous. On the alien capital world. Emergency meetings were held throughout the night. Some races wanted to send more ships to fight the humans. Others wanted to withdraw from the coalition entirely. The Ketharon Empire was the first to break. They had been fighting the Zephyrians for centuries and saw the human war as a chance to weaken their old enemies. When the humans started winning, the Ketharons quietly began withdrawing their ships. "We cannot continue this war," the Ketharon ambassador told the Coalition Council. "The humans are too strong, and we have our own borders to defend." Other races began to have similar thoughts. The Stellar Confederation reduced their fleet contribution by half. The Hive worlds recalled their ships to defend their home systems. The great coalition that had seemed so powerful was starting to fall apart. War Leader Thexcall was furious. "Cowards," he shouted at the departing ambassadors. "You run from a fight with primitives. You have no honor." But the aliens were not running because they lacked honor. They were running because they were smart enough to recognize a losing battle. The humans had proven they could not be easily defeated. Worse, they were getting stronger with each passing day. Dr. Rachel Stone, the young physicist who had helped develop the quantum weapons, was already working on the next generation of human technology. Her new project was so secret that only a few people knew about it. "If this works," she told Dr. Sullivan, "we won't just be able to destroy alien ships. We'll be able to destroy entire fleets at once." The weapon she was developing would make the quantum guns look like toys. It would give humanity the power to end the war quickly and decisively. But it would also make them the most feared race in the galaxy. President Rodriguez was informed of the new weapon's progress. He understood the implications immediately. If humanity used such a weapon, they would win the war. But they would also become the thing they had been fighting against. A race that ruled through fear and superior firepower. "Develop it," the president ordered. "But pray we never have to use it." The tide of war had turned. The aliens were retreating, their coalition was falling apart, and humanity was advancing on all fronts. But the real test was yet to come. Galaxy would soon learn what happened when humanity held the ultimate weapon. The war was far from over, but for the first time, humans were winning. The final battle of the war took place in the Zephyrian home system, where the last great fleet of the alien coalition made its desperate stand. Admiral Lisa Kane commanded the largest human fleet ever assembled, over 300 ships armed, with the most advanced weapons humanity had ever created. Lisa stood on the bridge of her flagship, the UE's Vengeance, and looked out at the enemy fleet. The Zephyrians had gathered every ship they could find, calling back vessels from across the galaxy. They had nearly 1,000 ships, but Lisa knew that numbers alone would not save them. "All ships, this is Admiral Kane," she said into her communicator. "Today, we end this war. Today, we show the galaxy what happens when you threaten humanity's children. Remember New Geneva. Remember all the innocent people who died because we dared to reach for the stars." The human fleet moved forward in perfect formation. Each ship was equipped with the quantum disruptor weapons that Dr. Rachel Stone had perfected. These new weapons could destroy matter at the atomic level, turning the largest alien ships into clouds of scattered particles. War leader Thex Call watched the approaching human fleet from his command ship, the Eternal Darkness. He had ruled the galaxy for 40 years and had never lost a major battle. But looking at the human ships, he felt something he had never experienced before. He felt fear. "How many ships do they have?" Thex Call asked his tactical officer. 300 confirmed, war leader. "But each one is more powerful than our largest dreadnoughts." Thex Call nodded grimly. The humans had done the impossible. In less than 2 years, they had gone from being a minor colony race to building the most powerful war fleet in galactic history. They had learned to fight better than races that had been warriors for thousands of years. "All ships, attack formation," Thex Call ordered. "We will show these humans that the Zephyrian hegemony does not die easily." The alien fleet spread out across the star system. Their ships were beautiful in a deadly way, all smooth curves and gleaming metal. They had been built by master craftsmen over centuries of careful work. But beauty would not save them from what was coming. Captain Jake Morrison led the first wave of the attack. His ship, the Defiance, had been rebuilt with the latest human technology. It was faster, stronger, and deadlier than any ship in the alien fleet. "Target their flagship," Jake ordered his weapons officer. "Let's cut the head off the snake." The quantum weapons fired in perfect synchronization. Beams of pure energy reached across space at the speed of light. The alien shields, which had protected ships for millennia, simply ceased to exist. The weapons passed through them like they were made of air. Thex Call's flagship shuddered as the human weapons struck home. Explosions rocked the ship from end to end. The bridge filled with smoke and the screams of dying crew members. "Impossible," Thex Call whispered as he watched his invincible ship die around him. "We are the masters of the galaxy. We cannot be defeated by primitives." But the humans were no longer primitives. They had learned the arts of war faster than any race in galactic history. More importantly, they fought with a fury that the aliens could not match. They fought for their families, their freedom, and their right to exist. Lieutenant Commander Sam Turner was leading a squadron of fighters against the alien supply fleet. His pilots were young, most of them barely out of training, but they flew with a skill that amazed even veteran alien pilots. "Remember," Sam told his squadron, "we're not just fighting for ourselves. We're fighting for every human child who dreams of walking on distant worlds." The fighters tore through the alien formation like a knife through paper. The quantum weapons on the small ships were less powerful than those on the big warships, but they were still more than enough to destroy alien vessels. One by one, the supply ships exploded or fled. Colonel Danny West was leading the ground assault on Zephyr Prime. the alien homeworld. His Marines had landed on the planet's surface and were fighting their way toward the capital city. It was the first time human soldiers had set foot on an alien homeworld. "Keep moving," Danny ordered his troops as they advanced through the alien city. "We're not here to conquer. We're here to end this war." The alien civilians watched in terror as human soldiers marched through their streets. They had been told that humans were savage barbarians who would kill everyone they met. Instead, the humans ignored the civilians and focused on military targets. "Surrender," Danny called out in the alien language. "This war is over. Your fleet is destroyed. Your military is defeated. There is no point in more dying." Some alien soldiers laid down their weapons and surrendered. Others fought to the end, dying for a cause that was already lost. The battle for the capital lasted 6 hours. When it was over, the Zephyrian government had fallen in space. The battle was reaching its climax. Admiral Kane's fleet had destroyed over half the alien ships, and the rest were fleeing in all directions. The great Zephyrian fleet, which had conquered dozens of worlds, was broken and scattered. War leader Thex Call made his final transmission from his dying ship. The message was broadcast across the galaxy, heard by billions of beings on thousands of worlds. "We sought to cage the humans because we feared their potential," Thex Call said. His voice was weak from his injuries, but his words carried clearly. "In our fear, we have unleashed something far worse than we imagined. They do not fight like us. They do not think like us. They are chaos given form, and chaos cannot be contained." The transmission ended as Thex Call's ship exploded in a ball of fire. The last great leader of the Zephyrian hegemony was dead, and with him died the power that had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years. The surrender came 3 days later. The remaining alien leaders met with human representatives on a neutral world. The treaty was simple and final. The coalition would disband. The surviving alien fleets would return to their home systems. Humanity would be left alone to grow and explore as they chose. Dr. Alex Carter was part of the human delegation that negotiated the surrender. He looked across the table at the defeated alien leaders and felt no joy in their defeat. Too many people had died on both sides. Too much had been destroyed. This did not have to happen, Alex told the alien representatives. "We could have shared the galaxy in peace. We could have learned from each other." The alien ambassador, a frail creature from the Stellar Confederation, nodded sadly. "We were afraid," he admitted. "Your species grows so fast, learns so quickly. We thought you would dominate us if we did not stop you first." "And now?" Alex asked. "Now we know that. Trying to stop you was our greatest mistake." President Rodriguez addressed the galaxy from the steps of the Earth Capitol building. Representatives from dozens of news organizations broadcast his words to every inhabited world. "The war is over," the president said. "Humanity has won the right to exist, to grow, to explore the galaxy as we choose. But victory has come at a terrible price. Over 20 million humans have died. Countless aliens have died as well. Half of human space lies in ruins." The president paused, looking directly into the cameras. "We did not want this war. We tried to live in peace with our neighbors. But when they came to destroy us, we fought back. We fought with everything we had. We fought until we won." Rodriguez's voice grew stronger. "Let this be a lesson to any who would threaten humanity in the future. We are not a warlike people, but we will fight when we must. We do not seek to conquer, but we will not be conquered. We do not want to rule the galaxy, but we will not let the galaxy rule us." The speech was translated into hundreds of languages and broadcast on every world. The message was clear. Humanity was now a major power in the galaxy, and they had earned that position through blood and sacrifice. Admiral Kane was promoted to Supreme Commander of Human Defense Forces. Her first order was to begin rebuilding the damaged colonies. Her second was to establish new rules for how humanity would interact with other races. "We will be strong," she told her officers. "We will be ready. But we will not be the aggressors. Let other races fear us if they choose, but let them also know that we can be friends to those who treat us with respect." Dr. Peter Sullivan continued his research, but now he focused on peaceful technologies instead of weapons. His quantum science opened new possibilities for faster-than-light travel and unlimited energy. Humanity would use their victory to build, not just to destroy. The galaxy had learned a hard lesson about humanity. They had learned that humans were different from other races. They adapted quickly to new situations. They learned from their mistakes. Most importantly, they never gave up when their survival was at stake. Some alien races tried to make friends with humanity, hoping to gain access to their new technologies. Others withdrew from galactic politics entirely, afraid of what humans might do next. A few plotted revenge, but they were careful to keep their plans secret. The war had changed everything. Humanity was no longer the young race begging for acceptance. They were now one of the most powerful forces in the galaxy. They had chosen war over words when threatened with extinction, and they had won. But the victory came with responsibilities. Humanity now had the power to destroy civilizations or protect them. They had weapons that could shatter worlds or technology that could heal them. The choice of what to do with that power would define humanity's future in the stars. President Rodriguez made that choice.